Hello, my name is Sarah. Welcome to this 45-minute lower body and core focused yoga class. Before you start the class, make sure you have enough space that you will be able to stand and lie down and extend your arms to full length, both out to the sides and overhead. Lay your yoga mat out with the long side facing the screen. You may want to get some prop supplies like a chair and blankets today, and maybe a yoga strap or an alternative for a yoga strap like a belt or sash. Some health and safety reminders. Any exercise, in this case yoga poses, should be carried out within your physical limits. Do not exceed what is physically capable for you. There will be some pose options provided during the class, and remember, we bring the yoga practice to where our body is at today, so choose which option suits you best. If it is your first time doing yoga or you are uncertain whether you should participate in this class, it is recommended you seek medical advice. UCX will not accept any responsibility for injuries incurred by any persons whilst participating in this online activity. Get yourself settled on your yoga mat, and we will start with checking in. You're welcome to keep your eyes open or close them down. Take a moment to notice how your body is feeling. Noticing the sit bones on the floor, the outer edges of the feet. Notice the length of your spine as well, floating from sit bones up to the crown of the head. Noticing your breathing and where the breath moves to. And also noticing the mind space and what kind of activity the mind has. Is it busy or is it feeling calm and still today? It may be somewhere in between. Just noticing what that feels like for you. And then moving onto our comfort scale from -10 to 0 to +10, from uncomfortable to average to very comfortable. Whereabouts do you sit before you start practicing today? Let's get into our practice with cat and cow, starting off with lifting tall and then exhaling, arching the back out. Inhaling, let the shoulders rock back as you lift up through the chest and the gaze. A couple more rounds. Feeling how the spine is in movement between seated cat, seated cow. And as we finish off, bring the hands toward heart center. Today we're driving our twist as we exhale towards the right knee, and then placing opposite hand to knee, the other one behind to support. Using it this way, we're not using our hands initially to draw into the pose. We're letting our core dictate how far around we twist. Inhale back to the center. Try it out on the other side. Exhaling, twist. Notice how far the core wants to twist us around. The oblique muscles doing the job. And then lightly rest the hands. Inhaling, coming back to center. Then bring the arms out. Your next exhale, take what we usually do, the twist where our hand comes to opposite knee, the other one behind the body. Notice similarities and differences between the two twists. Inhale to center, exhale to the other side for a few breaths there. Again, observing similarities and differences. Coming back to the center and place the hands down onto the mat. As we take an exhale, start to lean out towards your right. Then, inhaling up with the opposite arm. Exhaling, settle into the pose. A couple of breaths here. Inhaling, coming up and releasing the hand to floor on the exhale. Inhale, lengthen through the spine, and exhale, sliding off to the opposite side. Inhaling, lifting up the arm. Exhaling, settling into your side bend. How are the hips? How's the sit bones? Are they staying down on the ground? Sit bones being the bottom of the pelvis. Inhaling, coming up again, and slowly taking another lean off to one side. Changing it up. Inhale and exhale again to the other side. How does this side bend feel in comparison to the first variation? Coming back to the center and rolling out the shoulders. A couple of rounds up towards ears, moving back and down. Coming on over to all fours position. Big toes together, knees wide, sinking the hips back towards the heels, and walk the hands in so that they're just brushing your knees. Here we're going to be focusing on the length from our tailbone to head, from the crown of the head down to the tailbone. As you exhale, gently draw the belly in and walk the hands forward a fraction. So each time you exhale, walk the hands forward a little more. Each time you inhale, just return the focus back to the length of your spine, tailbone to crown of the head. Are we maintaining that as we hinge forward from the hips? Keeping the arms active, fingertips pressing into the floor, and let the head come neutral with the rest of the body between the arms. A few breaths here. Feeling lengthening through from the hips to the fingertips. And make a slow journey back. So each time you breathe, either holding or moving. So this is definitely a contrasting way of looking at our child pose, which so often we just fold out into and rest into the floor. Moving from that active variation, we're going to get into parallel knees and come forward, all fours, tuck the toes and back to your down dog. Feel free to walk out down dog and remember keep a bend in the knees if the hammies are feeling a little tight today. Coming into stillness, and then when you're ready, walk towards the hands, come to a halfway lift. Exhaling, forward fold. Sit the bottom back into powerful pose, inhaling arms upward and up into mountain pose. Tuning into your mountain pose for a couple of breaths, equal weight down through the feet, lengthening from the heels up to the crown of the head, tailbone to crown of the head. Sitting bottom back, inhaling arms up, let's forward fold. Half lift, flat back, and exhale, hands to floor, back to your plank, lowering down and taking a back bend. I'm demonstrating cobra. Tuck the toes, lift the hips back. Noticing how the body feels after the first round of sun salutation A. Making your way to top of the mat, however feels comfortable. Half lift. Exhale, forward fold. Powerful pose as you breathe in and up to standing again. Straight through into second round of sun salutation. Folding forward. Half lift. Hands to the floor, stepping back. Make sure you alternate legs if you're stepping. and back to down dog. Breathe and hold. Moving to top of the mat, halfway lift when you get there. Forward fold, powerful pose, and moving back up again to standing. From here, we're going to take a bit of standing flow. So we'll start off with our powerful pose again. Forward fold, half lift, moving back to your plank and flowing through. Back bend of your choice and lifting hips. Step the right foot forward, setting up the legs for warrior one position, bringing the hands to hips, just checking in that your hips are facing forward to short edge of the mat. Moving the arms upward into our warrior one position and lifting up through front knee. Exhaling down, arms goalpost. Taking a few rounds like that. Inhale to lift, exhale to lower. Coming out on the exhale to warrior two. Feel free to adjust your back leg if you need to for comfort. Hips opening to long edge, gently. Flipping the front hand, inhale, sun warrior. And exhale, forearm down to the thigh, sweep the back arm through, look down to the big toe and inhale up to sun warrior. Exhale, forearm to thigh, back arm sweep through, extended side angle, and repeating again, up to the sky, down to the thigh, sweep the arm through, big circle, and coming back to sun warrior. Back to warrior two, close the gap, lifting the back heel up, coming down to kneeling lunge for stability and setting up. Or if you prefer, you can take that lower lunge variation there. Moving into rotation, take the left elbow toward right knee. Moving into our twist, aiming for our extended leg out the back to be as long as it can. Inhale, facing forward. Plant the hands down to the floor to runner's lunge, and then do a little baby step at the back foot in to what feels like a warrior one position with the legs again. Straighten the front leg, and we're in a pyramid fold. Feel free to bring the hands to the shin or the hips if reaching to the floor is uncomfortable with the legs straightened. Check in that you're not locking the front knee, a gentle bend if needed. Lunge back forward into that knee and come up to the warrior one position with the legs. Feel free to shorten the stance if you need. And then reaching the arms up, preparing for a bit of balance work here. On the exhale, gently draw the belly into the back, knee toward tabletop, and arms towards goalpost. Then on your next exhale, gently with belly to back again, kick your left leg back behind you. This balance is challenging for some, even me, so make sure that you observe where you feel the balance challenge coming through. Adjust as needed. Come back into our tabletop leg and reach the arms up and then lower down on the exhale. If anything needs a walk off, feel free to take the walk off, and then we're going to repeat that all on the second side. I'm going to turn to the other end of my mat, so I'm not turning away from you for most of it. So let's go through that again. It's a powerful pose to start. Forward fold, half lift, hands to the floor, moving back to your plank and chaturanga, back bend and down dog. Left foot stepping up, coming into warrior one to start. Tune into the hip alignment. How is it feeling there? And then when you're ready, either hands to hips or reaching up, and then exhaling into goalpost arms, bent knee. So if you've still got your hands on your hips, you can just be doing the bottom half. So that's good if you've got sore shoulders today. Then moving out to your warrior two. Here again, if your shoulders are sore, just keep the hands to hips and elbows winged out. Now we're going to be using the arms here. So inhaling, coming up into sun warrior, exhaling, forearm to thigh, sweep the arm through, look up underneath the tricep, then down to your toes, you breathe out. Windmill up to sun warrior, and exhale down, bring through the arm, inhaling, exhaling down to look, inhaling lift, exhaling lower, inhaling sweep, exhale look down. Let's go one more. Forearm to thigh, back arm through, looking down and coming back. Let's go warrior two, close the gap, lifting back heel and then lowering the knee. Remember, option one is to set up here in the low kneeling for your twist. Option two is to have the toes tucked, leg extended in a low lunge. On the exhale, right elbow to left knee, taking your twist, back leg as long as it feels comfortable to be stretched out. Noticing twist through the center of the body. Where are we feeling that the most? Inhale, facing forward. And then exhale, hands to floor, framing the front foot. Shorten the stance and set up for pyramid fold. Hands either to hips, shin, or floor. And folding over the front leg. Now we're preparing for that balance pose again. Lunge through the front knee. Come upright to your warrior one position, just as needed. If you need shorter stance for pushing off into balance, feel free to make it a shorter warrior one. And then pressing up, exhaling, arms into goalpost, knee towards table. Next exhale, start to tilt through the axis of the hips and come out to our aeroplane, arms wide. You can do warrior three with arms overhead. If I try that here, I'll be hitting a hole in the wall. So aeroplane for me today. And inhale, coming back up with the arms and knee. Exhaling, release everything to the floor. Feel free to give that a little walk off. And I'll come back to face the long edge of the mat here. Bring the feet to a comfortable wide stance and turn the toes gently outward. Now we're going to have a couple of options here as well. So you can sit down towards goddess pose, hands on the hips, and gently rock from side to side. So here we are focusing on the first option. We're going to bring the hands in and sweep up on the inhale, legs lengthening. Exhale, sitting in. Inhale, lengthening. Exhale, the hands just draw down through the center line. So feel free to stay with this variation option of a goddess. Great for a static hold. A static hold isn't feeling so comfortable today. Then give your legs the space to move in and out of the pose as needed. Otherwise, a static hold. And option number two, we can sink out towards a deeper squat, opening up our long leg toes to the ceiling. Now, on the lunge side, you can have your hands to floor if your balance doesn't feel so good. I'm playing around with balance today myself. And you can bring hands to heart center, aiming for, again, like we did in child pose, lengthening from tailbone to crown, crown of the head to tailbone. keeping that lift there. Now, if you want to transition over to the other side, walk it across, sit the bottom down into the squat, extended leg with toes upward, either bracing on the floor. And in this case, I'm noticing that my hip is not feeling like it's going to be comfortable with coming upright, both hands together. So here I'm using a half variation, giving it a try. No, I'm going to keep that hand down. Let's keep that fingertip to floor, and we'll do half movement with the other hand, focusing in on keeping the toes on the long leg up towards ceiling and length through the spine. Coming back through the center, how are the hips going? How are the hammies going? Give it a little rock side to side in a low squat, and heel toe the feet in. Hanging in ragdoll, feel free to wrap the arms or let the arms hang to the floor. Sway gently side to side. Feel the length coming through. And then from there, slowly peeling up as though your back's rolling up against a wall. Lifting the arms, nice big stretch as you inhale and exhaling. Inhaling, arms wide, big star. Turn the toes out. We're preparing triangle. Turn it down, hip to thigh. So triangle, Trikonasana. Aim for the long lines again. This time, instead of pyramid fold, the back hip will be a little open to the long edge of the mat. Inhale, coming up, swivel the feet over, and we're straight into our second side of triangle. Feel free to adjust the feet as you need so that your legs and hips feel comfortable. Looking down to the big toe, inhale, coming back up, and bring the hand forward to top of the mat, step up. After a few breaths standing here in mountain pose, let's take a transition down. Powerful pose and fold. Half lift, back to plank and take a flow through. Few breaths, down dog. How's the body feeling after the first part of class? Lower the knees down to the floor, bottom back towards the heels. Getting into the hip core focus with 3 different play areas of exploration. First one, keep your toes tucked or flat, your choice. As we get into camel pose. Stop sign hands, move up the back. This helps us to keep the shoulders rolling back and down. Magnetize the elbows together. Tongue pressing to roof of the mouth, jaw is closed as we look upward. And as we exhale with the belly drawing to the back, aim to keep the knees and hips in alignment. In the back, it should feel like a U-shaped curve, and there should still be length in the back of the neck. Sending chin toward chest, slowly come upright and release bottom to heels. Now, for every one that we do, we're taking a counterbalance of knees together, child's pose, supporting the forehead with the fists. Just allowing our body to go the opposite direction for a couple of breaths. Okay, the next exploration, we're moving from back bending and front side of the body opening to more increase on that lengthening and angle. So we kept hips over knees before. Now we're drawing belly to back and leaning back, aiming to keep our knees, hips, and shoulders in one long line. Each exhale, belly to back, rocking back. Each inhale, moving forward. Hands can be crossed on the chest out of the way if needed. So here it may feel like a more strengthening pose for the quads, for the glutes, as we hold our body in place. Now, so we're getting into option 2. The one we just did was a transition between the first and the second. So if you find the second one is too intense, so for me, I can place the hands down on the floor and then I can squeeze the glutes and lift the hips. Not much lift. Try again. No, still not much lift. You can try that one with the hands behind you and squeezing the glutes, lifting the hips. If you need an assist and you happen to have a dining chair or collapsible chair like the one I'm using, feel free to give this one a go. Hands hold on to the legs of the collapsible chair. Move away from the chair so you feel like your thoracic spine, so just below shoulder blades, is supported by the chair. Here you can see the back of my head supported by the back of the chair. Arms are wrapping and holding the legs, shoulders drawing back down onto the seat of the chair, and I'm squeezing the glutes, lifting the hips a bit better than what I did when my hands were on the floor. So this is let's call it a 1.25 because we've got the other variation there that we did in leaning back as well. Plenty of options. But remember, take your counterbalance after trying any of these choices. Now, if you tried this one and body said no, stay with a couple of rounds of camel pose, the first variation. With camel pose, you can even approach it in high kneeling and a small back bend. So remember, take it at your pace. So that was an option with a chair. Now we're going to go deeper. So the whole purpose of this series of options is to find one that feels like a comfortable challenge for you. Now for me, I'm going to be using 2 bolsters here. Now not everybody has bolsters at home. I mean, you can purchase bolsters if you need them, but things like couch cushions, pillows, rolled up blankets, these things may assist you in your creativity and getting into a comfortable back bend like this one. Now, I'm going to shuffle around and adjust a little bit as I sit in and explore this pose. Here again, the aim is knee to hip to shoulder, a minor back bend. And number 3 can be shallow or it can go even deeper. So here I'm throwing in a lower prop. So this is a Zafu cushion that I've just thrown in. It could be a pillow for you. We also bring the feet out from underneath the bottom the lower we go. So we're basically aiming towards a reclined hero pose. And reclined hero requires your feet to be just outside your glutes so that the bottom can sit towards the floor. And eventually that diagonal line goes flatter and flatter. If you notice a lot of bending in your lower back, try a gentle lengthening of the tailbone. Opening and bending in the upper back. And I'm just adjusting to see where that is for me. A little bit of back bend in the upper back is okay, as long as it feels okay for you. Slowly coming back out, a gentle chin tuck, and rolling straight over into that counterbalance. So hopefully today's video has given you plenty of options to choose from, with the focus here of lengthening through the front side of the body. So lengthening quads, our thighs, hips, the front side of the torso, the opening in the shoulders, strengthening in the glutes and the lower back. And we're coming out. I'm packing away all the props. But we have been working on those poses this week at UC. So feel free to come along and try those in the studio, but I'll keep recapping what we're doing in the studio. Let's take a forward fold, balancing out, holding on to anywhere along the legs, ankles, feet, or toes, gently releasing into a forward fold. Slowly coming back out of your forward fold and bring the legs out wide to V position. Taking another fold here, noticing similarities, differences between the two, reaching along the legs, ankles, feet, or toes, wherever is comfortable to hold. Lengthening from tailbone to crown of the head, gentle rounding through the upper back. Notice what sensations we pick up through the back of the legs here. Next inhale, coming back up slowly. And bring the legs in towards butterfly. If you want something stronger, draw closer for Baddha Konasana, bound angle. Opening soles of the feet toward you as you fold gently forward. You can utilize your arms as a little added weight to the insides of the legs. Slowly returning upright and release the legs out. Feel free to give the legs a little shake if needed before moving to the top edge of your mat. And then rolling slowly down onto the back. Some work for the core now. This is focus today again. We're looking at the hips, we're looking at the core of the body. So draw belly to back, back flattened into the floor as you bring both legs into a tabletop position. Toe tapping gently down, inhaling, coming back up. Toe tapping down with the other leg and inhaling back up. So here we're just starting to activate into our core stability and holding as we add limb movement. Be mindful to only hinge in the hip, the knee, its bend stays put. If you notice that your foot starts to hug in toward the bottom, try and be mindful of keeping the knees at right angles. Okay, on the exhale, we're rolling up into shoulder bridge. A little counterbalance out. Feel free to support with the hands on the side of the hips, gently lifting up. If you're more used to bringing the hands underneath for a bind and walking shoulder blades together, you're welcome to do that too. And slowly on the next exhale, rolling back out of your shoulder bridge. Again, belly to back, back to floor, this time the feet coming up again, and into a second round of core strengthening. As we exhale, lower the leg out, inhale, back to tabletop. Exhaling, leg lengthening and lowering, inhaling, bending back into table. Taking a couple more rounds each side. Aim to return the knee directly above the hip. If the knee starts to creep up over the rib cage, we start to lose some of that intensity of core work. Lowering the feet back down to the floor and taking a second shoulder bridge. Feel free to support side body with hands on the hips or hand bind underneath the back and shoulders walk together. So this pose will be very similar feeling to camel pose. Come on out slowly. The only difference between the two really is, the way we are positioned. Let's bring the arms out to a T position and gently rock the knees left and right. Massage out the spine and supine twist. And then drawing the knees up into tabletop if you're after something a little stronger. Hugging the knees in toward the chest, and if you want, a few circles gently around one way and then around the other to finish off. So hopefully your core has felt like it's done a little something today. Same for the quads and hips, our glutes, and the back. Whether it was in the standing poses that we did, balancing, or the little sequence of exploration going deeper from camel down to reclined hero. Bring yourself into a comfortable position for Shavasana on the floor. You can use your chair if you've still got it there. Feel free to place your feet or your calves up onto the chair. Take a few falling out breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth. Just let everything slowly start to come into relaxation. So in coming to rest, let's just notice the body. And at the feet, give them a squeeze, give them a stretch, and let them release. In the legs, notice them and give them a tense, a stretch, and a release. Notice your hands and your arms. Good way of visualizing a tense and release for hands and arms. Imagine you're picking up a heavy bag, like a full bag of shopping. We're going to wrap the hands around the bag, clench them into fists, and then tense the arms as though you're trying to pick up the heavy bags. And then release and stretch the fingers down towards the feet, arms nice and long. And releasing the arms, releasing the hands, letting them come to rest. Noticing our center of the body. If there are any areas in the body that you're unsure of, whether they've released to a resting position or if they're still hanging on, feel free to squeeze the glutes. Draw up the pelvic floor as though you're drawing away from cold water. And drawing in the belly like you're trying to put on tight low-cut jeans. Notice all that activity there. And then let all the muscles release. Let them come to rest. In the upper part of the torso, you could imagine taking a nice deep breath in, feeling the rib cage expanding. When you get to the top of the in-breath, holding it for a moment, feeling that expansion, that movement and hold, and then slowly let your breath out. Feel the torso and the rib cage, the upper back, come to rest again into natural movement. Noticing the shoulders and giving them a squeeze up towards the ears, and then a press down towards the heels, and then a press back towards the floor. And release them. Observe any differences from that tense and release. And then lastly, noticing the back of the head resting on the floor, the muscles around the eyes and jaw softening, the jaw itself loosening in the mouth, tongue resting, eyes resting, the whole body resting. A couple more minutes in your rest, just being present with yourself. Nothing you have to do, nowhere you need to be. Coming back to being present in your body. Notice how your body feels. You may wish to start gently moving in the toes and the fingers, the ankles and the wrists. As we slowly come back to our body and move it, does it need a stretch? Rock onto your preferred side and take a moment to reflect on practice. Were there any challenges, successes, or other observations from learning today about different options in our camel to hero poses, the lower body and the core? And on the comfort scale, how are you doing now? From -10 to 0, 0 to +10, where are we sitting? And then gently use your top hand to press back up to comfortable sitting. And drawing hands into the heart center, coming into Anjali Mudra, Mudra of Reverence, to give gratitude and thanks for the practice shared today. Thank you. And I will see you again on the mat soon.